Give your body the support it needs, especially during these challenging times, to do what it was built to do. Drink Purite first thing in the morning to balance and stabilize your body. It's that simple. A superfood blend with 14 supplements in every serving for more energy, blood sugar stabilization, better immunity, a healthy gut, glowing skin, cell protection, and so much more. Start your day right, the Purite way. Subscribe and save at leapapa.purite.com. Don't wait. Begin building you now. See link below. Today's episode of Mindfully Speaking, Health, Wellbeing in the Universe at Large, we are visiting with events professional and lover of the experience.
Yeah, I was coming out of a catering company role. I was working in corporate sales and it wasn't a great fit. And I remember taking a little bit of time off in between those two roles and connecting with a friend of mine who worked in the wine industry, and they had a tasting room manager position open out in Woodinville, which is basically like a mini Walla Walla. And I had never managed a tasting room before, but obviously there's a lot of like hospitality pieces of that and, welcoming people into a tasting room. I always said too, working in a tasting room is kind of like you're a barista and like a bartender. You're kind of in this middle. And so I got the job and I loved that, just learning about the wines. And that really kind of bridged. And then I started working for the parent company of that winery, and they owned, it's actually called Precept Wines. And their portfolio is dominantly Washington, but they, sell wine in grocery stores and restaurants all over the country. So again, the party planner in me came out and I started doing the events for the company / direct to consumer events. So we would do like, things around Washington, but that really, at that time in my life, I was really craving travel. I wanted to move, but didn't know how to make that happen. And so here I was at like 25, like traveling to like Chicago, New York, South Beach, Miami, LA, Vegas, like doing all these amazing wine events like all over the world. And it was pretty awesome to be able to do that.
And how long did you do that?
I was with Precept for almost 6 years. So at the height of it, and that was great. I mean, I had no problem. I could have kept doing that forever, just travel.
But then you segued into even a broader travel with the cannabis industry.
Yeah, so that was the connection. Is I got an opportunity to work for a startup cannabis company. And at the time, I wasn't really looking for a job. I was really happy in the wine industry. But as you know, the career grows, this was a pretty good financial opportunity. And it was in this brand new industry. Washington had just become recreational in 2014. And so I jumped with it. It was kind of a total, fear. I was kind of nervous. I'm personally not into cannabis as a product. But I knew they were looking for an event planner to help produce and create events, from a national and international level. So it was exciting and it was challenging. So I jumped ship and went over there. And I mean, that was like a whole new thing. I mean, that was like the Wild West. I wasn't, it was, 420 rallies and rap concerts and just a whole different look and feel than what the wine industry was. But it really opened up opportunities for me to work with really interesting people all over the country. And it really sharpened my skill set from like a negotiating perspective. We did a lot of sponsorship sales and working with entertainment. Like I had never had to do entertainment buying before, or negotiations with, if we sponsored this or if we did that. So it was a really great experience for me. And I was in the cannabis industry until just shy of 2018. So I left that in 2017, I believe, the fall of 17.
Well, I think it speaks to how brave you are as a professional, and that you are not afraid of stretching yourself, and that it doesn't matter if it's something that resonates with you. It's still a product and it's a brand, and you know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Was there any particular favorite experience that you created that you would want to share?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many. So I worked really closely with the brand. It's called Leafly. It's still around today, leafly.com. It's basically a cannabis information resource. So you could use it. It was an app that you could download, or a website, and you could find dispensaries closest to you that had specific types of products. So, and this was interesting for me and of the team that I worked with. So I worked on a marketing team at the time. A lot of us weren't super, I mean, some of us were, but not everyone was in so close to the subject matter. Like for me, I'd still prefer to go home and have a glass of wine versus go home and, wind down with a joint. And so I think that Leafly, we knew we had this cannabis consumer audience, but we knew we wanted to touch more of a mainstream audience, really get information in front of people. And so one project that we brought to light in 2016 was we introduced the Leafly Comedy Tour, where we basically ran a free comedy show, and we brought in major headline comedians, and it was a free event. And the whole idea was to bring in just the mainstream audience, cannabis lovers too, into a room that made cannabis feel normal. It made it feel comfortable, and then you could have some laughs at the same time. And so, yeah, it was great. It was so amazing to come to life. I just still remember like just floating when the first event went off, and we had it in Seattle at the Crocodile, and we had TJ Miller kick off the tour. And I mean, TJ Miller is hilarious. I don't know if you followed him, but he's a hoot. And then we did one a month for that whole year, and we went to 12 cities in all over the nation. And we did our last one in Vancouver, BC, to kind of not kick the tour or end the tour. So it was awesome. I loved producing it. I had an amazing team that helped me along the way, and just really something that I love to be able to hang my hat on.
Fantastic. It sounds fun and exhausting.
Yeah.
I bet you needed a break after that.
Lots of air miles in that one for sure.
So let's segue into, how did Kayla Cook Events come to be?
Yeah. So after that whirlwind, I was feeling a little bit of burnout. And I don't even know if I realized what that was until 2017 was kind of coming to an end, and my role kind of shifted working for Leafly. So I moved up to the parent company, Privateer Holdings, and ended up leaving the role, I want to say in like October. And I was really uncomfortable leaving. Like I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so comfortable being in a corporate role, going to an office every day. And so I challenged myself to kind of take that fall holidays off and just really focus on like, what do I want to do? Do I want to go work for another corporate company? I knew I didn't want to do cannabis again. I still love the wine industry. So just kind of thought about it. My husband actually really encouraged me to take some time and just like maybe take on some freelance work, because I was already kind of doing some stuff on the side here and there. And so I just started putting some feelers out to old, colleagues that I worked with, companies that I worked with, and then the projects just kind of started to come in. And so I just started operating my business under Kayla Cook Events, LLC, and, scrubbed my website. I had created a website like back in 2014 that probably needed some love at the time. And yeah, and just started having coffee with people and just listening to different, things that people needed from an events perspective. And it kind of just went from there. And I guess the end of 17, all of 18 was really just kind of a networking year with lots of little projects on the side. And 2018 was really 18 and 19 was really like when it kind of came to life, I guess.
Well, being an entrepreneur isn't for everyone. So are you surprised that that you took to it so well? And it does take time to develop. Were you excited or were you fearful in those first couple of years before it started to gel? What were those feelings?
Yeah, it felt like Groundhog's Day a lot of times, where you're like networking and coffee meetings and you're like, okay, like when are these going to start to come to fruition, or when does that conversation come to life? And yeah, there's for sure some fear. There's always fear, when you're stepping on your own. I think finances is a big one. How am I going to make this work? Or if I need to bring on staff, how am I going to make sure they get paid, and insurance, and like all the things that you don't think about when you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go plan events,
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think I've always kind of had just that entrepreneurial spirit a little bit in everything that I've done. And I don't know if I always knew that. back in the day.
Well,
Uh,
you're again courageous and brave, and that's part of who you are.
yeah. And I think when you work for yourself too, I've been hearing a lot about boundaries. And I wasn't good at that. I'm better now, especially now, being a new mom, but it's tough when you work for yourself because you're also your IT, you're also your admin, you're also all the things in one hat, unless you expand and quick. And, some people do that too. But for me, it was kind of a one woman show for a while, especially once 2020 happened. And so I think that there's challenges within itself there, having to kind of like dig in and Google everything if you don't know, you don't know the answer.
Thank God for that, that
You
you can
know,
research that way. I don't know
totally.
what I would do without it. We met actually at the Northwest Event Show there in Seattle in 2019. My first impression of you was calm control.
Hmm.
When I think of you, and I always get lit up. I have a smile when I hear your voice, or when I think of you doing events. There's an impression that you have effortless style, and that you're in charge, but with a gentle hand. That was my impression when I met you. Does that description resonate with you?
Well, thank you. That I'm flattered. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I don't know, somewhere along the way, I realized that, I mean, there's going to be moments where things happen on site at an event or, things you can't control. And it's really not going to help if you freak out. And it's really not going to look great in front of the client if you're freaking out. So I just, somewhere along my career, I think I just figured out a way to, you know, manage the chaos, you know,
Yeah.
and just try to keep things calm because I do believe you can troubleshoot and you have to troubleshoot on site. But the more calm you can stay, and the more maybe in the back seat you can keep your client, the better. So no, but I really appreciate that, Lee. That was really, really sweet.
Yeah, it's true. And it's a good time to really segue into the whole personal touch, the wellness bit.